What is going on, guys? Gamersgoon here today with the first four review here. We started off today with actually all of today's games were pretty interesting. They were all close. They all had moments where you thought that the other team was gonna win, and it started off with Texas Southern versus Mount St. Mary's. Now in this game, actually Mount St. Mary's was up 10 at halftime. It was 30-20. But a huge second half from the Texas Southern team, scoring 40 points, catapulted Texas Southern to victory here over Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. But Texas Southern, they had only 2 people reach double digits. That is definitely not ideal. Now, Texas Southern will be going on, and they will be going to play Michigan. Michigan is definitely not the team you want to play, especially if you're only scoring 60 points against Mount St. Mary's, and you're going to need to figure out scoring from situations where you're going to need more than 2 players in double digits if you want to beat Michigan, because they got guys like Hunter Dickinson who they can throw at you, who he's going to go get buckets. Isaiah Livers isn't going to be playing, but trust me, they'll have guys stepping up for Michigan over there. So Texas Southern is going to have guys stepping up for them. And regardless of if John Walker and Jordan Gilliam pop up in that game, they're going to need to figure out one of these other guys to step up for the Texas Southern Tigers for that game if they want to have a chance against Michigan. But regardless of whether or not they do, I'm still gonna have to go with Michigan. They should just outpower Texas Southern easily. It shouldn't even be close. Michigan should blow that one out. No excuses from Michigan. Then we got Drake versus Wichita State. Now this game was close throughout the whole game. It was a 1-point game at half, 21-20, and it kept that way throughout the entire game. And it finished with a 1-point victory for the Drake Bulldogs. Wichita State, they had a chance to win it there late. They didn't. And Drake is going to be moving on, and they're going to be playing USC, a team that I think is beatable. I think both of these teams have a chance to beat USC. Drake, they really came to play today. Just like Texas Southern, they only did have 2 players reach double digits, but Joseph Yasufu did get into the 20s for them, so that is a positive there for Drake. Trinell Murphy also had 11. Darnell Brody, he had 9. So they did get production elsewhere, but they're not going to be able to win a game against USC, who's averaging around 70 points a game. They're not going to be able to get a game putting up 53 points. But luckily for Drake, they have been putting up 70 points around that threshold this season, so they're no strangers to it. And I think Drake has a legitimate shot to beat USC, but I'm still going to have to take USC in that game. Then we had Norfolk State versus Appalachian State. Norfolk State was absolutely killing Appalachian State. It was 16-point lead at half, 36-20, and then Appalachian State took off in the second half and made it close. It was a 33-18 second half, and Appalachian State lost 54-53, lost by 1 point. They had a chance to win it there late too, and they were not able to do that. It sucks to see Appalachian State go out. I thought they might have been a little bit of a dark horse there, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, you did have Jalen Hawkins score 24 for Norfolk, but Norfolk State, unfortunately, they're going to be running into Jalen Suggs and a very dangerous Gonzaga team. You don't want to run into that Gonzaga team, and you especially don't want to run into them as a team that isn't necessarily the best. You're a 17-7 You don't play in a strong conference. You don't want to run into Gonzaga. And unfortunately, it didn't matter whether or not Appalachian State or Norfolk State won this game. It's going to end up with the same result either way. Gonzaga is going to embarrass whichever team wins this game, unfortunately. But Norfolk State, you might get to hear a lot of Jalen Hawkins' name. Maybe he makes his name for himself there in that game, and gets his name known on a wider variety, since he is going to play against one of the top draft prospects next year in the draft. And then we ended the night off here with an overtime game between the UCLA Bruins and the Michigan State Spartans. And now this is a game that the Spartans should have won. They should have won it. But they didn't. They were up 11 at half, 44-33. And then the second half, it was literally a flip of the script. UCLA had 44, Michigan State had 33. Towards the end of the game, in the regulation, Aaron Henry had a chance to win the game. He didn't. He did not win the game. He airballed the game-winning shot. And then we ended up seeing Johnny Juzang try to hit a half court, which was with about 3 seconds left, which I thought could have went in, but it didn't. And then we went to overtime where Michigan State could not figure out any way to score. They had one layup and a free throw, and Michigan State just couldn't find anything. UCLA did have 9 points in the overtime, and they won 86-80. But unfortunately for UCLA, I did have whoever won this game beating BYU, and it still could happen. But I'm gonna say Jaime Jaquez Jr. is gonna need to have a big game for the UCLA Bruins. In the overtime, Johnny Juzang did go down with an injury on the leg. He wasn't able to walk off the court. He had to be helped off the court. That's just not something you want to see, especially at this time of the year, especially when Johnny Juzang's giving you 23 points in a really close game against Michigan State. But I don't know if Michigan State's going to be able to hang with BYU if they don't have Johnny Juzang on the court. I really don't. They're going to need Tiger Campbell to step up. They're going to need Cody Riley to step up. They're going to have players step up along the lines, and hopefully UCLA gets it for them. But it's not looking good if Johnny Juzang can't get on the court for that game against BYU. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to take BYU against UCLA, even though I think UCLA is capable of it. If there's no Johnny Juzang, I don't think there's much shot for UCLA there. But anyways, that was the first four. That it was a quick little appetizer to what we have coming tomorrow morning, big morning. We got college basketball all day long, and it's going to be a good one. We're starting off the morning hot with my Illini. We're going to go out there and we're going to play Drexel, so hopefully that one's good. And then we got a long day ahead of us tomorrow and a lot of basketball to be played. But I'll be seeing you guys in that video.